Hi there. Welcome back to our 5 Quick Questions series here at Posse Empowerment. My name is Sion, part of Posse's media crew. Today we'll be interviewing a CEO in the engineering industry, Steve. Come along and explore.
Everybody, welcome to the Posse Empowerment YouTube channel. Before we get started with our interview, I just wanted to give you guys a reminder to social distance and wear masks and just follow the public guidelines because we can get through this together. Without further ado, we can get started.
Today we have here Mr. Steve Demetriou, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Hi, this is Steve Demetriou. I'm in Dallas, Texas. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, and I attended Tufts University where I got my chemical engineering degree. So I have a Bachelor of Science of Chemical Engineering. And I've been out in the working place now for, over 40 years. The last almost 20 years, I've been a chief executive officer of 3 different companies: a chemical company, a mining company, and now Jacobs Engineering the last 5 years, where I'm now chair and CEO of Jacobs Engineering. Outside of work, I've got a family, wife, and 6 children, all adult children, and 5 boys, 1 girl. And we're a big sports family. I love golf, love basketball, big NBA player. Obviously, I was in Cleveland, Ohio during the LeBron James era, so big passion. And in fact, I own a minor league NBA basketball team for the Orlando Magic called the Lakeland Magic down in Lakeland, Florida.
So firstly, Mr. Steve, what is your current career? You can just go into depth about that.
Yeah, Lydia, so my career has been really advancing through through a variety of jobs. As I mentioned, I was a chemical engineering by training, but not until Jacobs did I really get a real engineering job. I've been on a variety of different financial, business, marketing jobs through my career. First 17 years of my working life, I was at Exxon and worked all over the world for Exxon, so I had a great opportunity there to develop my career. But now, last 5 years, running one of the world's largest engineering technology firms, Jacobs Engineering, and that's what I'm doing now.
That's very cool. The second question is, why is your job necessary? So why is it important for the world to run?
Well, like anything, every company needs to have a sort of a captain of the ship, if you will. I mean, it's like a sports team with a coach or a general manager. And, the role of a chief executive officer is really to guide the company through executing its strategy. And also equally important is to develop the right culture in the company to inspire, motivate, advance employees, and also to participate in the community that surrounds us. And it's not just the Dallas community where our headquarters are, but we have 400 offices around the world. So it's all these communities. And so for me, I believe the most important thing of my role is we have 55,000 employees around the world. We're a people company. And so I spend the majority of our time making sure we're advancing our culture, we're engaging our employees, communicating, inspiring, and really not only helping the company flourish, but helping our employees flourish.
I really like that. So this is a more personal question. Why did you decide to become the Chief Executive Officer of Jacobs?
Well, you don't decide to become a chief executive officer, but you aspire to become whatever your dreams are. And early in my career, one of the first things I wanted to do when I was growing up as a kid, I want to be an architect. And then I finally, stumbled my way through knowing that maybe the right thing for me was engineering. And so when I first started working, as I mentioned at Exxon, my first 17 years, for me, it was always to advance. I was definitely always motivated and ambitious young person at that time, but I wanted to have people responsibility. I wanted to manage and lead. Didn't really think about the CEO role when I was in my 20s and 30s, but then suddenly as I advanced up through a couple of companies, I got a few phone calls about chief executive officer roles. And of course, I went for it, and I got my first one in 2001, and it's been a great ride since. So really, it was more around my ambitions led to others seeing that I had the potential to be a chief executive officer. And once that was brought to me, I fortunately was able to get it across the finish line.
That's very interesting. The next question might be a bit personal to you, but as a chief executive officer, what steps are you taking to include women and minorities within your workplace?
Yeah, this has been a huge journey for Jacobs the last 5 years. One of the reasons I was actually hired as the CEO back in 2015 is the company's culture was stumbling. Jacobs was a 70-plus-year-old company. It was a great company, but it sort of hit the wall and stumbled through a variety of execution problems back between 2010 and 2015. And the board of directors decided to go outside of the company to find somebody that could really help revitalize the culture. And when I arrived at the company, what I found was 100% of the company's leadership were men, white men, all sitting in Pasadena, California, where the headquarters was at that time. And so I made it, sort of an objective and a goal that one of the first things we're going to do to change the culture was to have a more inclusive and diverse leadership team and a diverse board of directors. And I'm proud to say that, compared to that time frame of 5 years ago when I gave you that sort of a lack of diversity, today, the top 10 executives in the company, my executive leadership team, are 50% women. We have 2 persons of color, people of color on the leadership team. Our board of directors are now 6 out of 11 of our board members are diverse, 3 African Americans and 3 women on the board of directors. So we've now taken that sort of walk the talk at the top of the company, and we're cascading that down through the company. But I'll tell you, it's not. It is, of course, the right thing to do to have a diverse company and give everybody an equal opportunity. But for us at Jacobs, it's also what's going to make our company more successful. Diversity leads to the best quality, the best profitability, the best innovation. And so it's foolish not to be diverse, because when you have the diverse instincts around the leadership table, you make better decisions faster, smarter, and we're proving that out over the last several years as we've outperformed our competition.
So this is the last question. I really like your response to the previous one. Why do you think women should go into STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math?
That's a great question. And I think there's a variety of reasons why women should go into STEAM. And I think it's the same reasons men should aspire to go into STEAM. It is an opportunity to meet a whole host of different personal objectives. If your objective is to apply your intellect and experiences to something very creative, well, think about it. Architecture, engineering, technology, science. I mean, these are advancing the world and some of the most important things that all of us human beings face every day. When you think of what's going on right now with COVID-19 and the need for a vaccine, take Jacobs. We're one of the leading companies in the world on life sciences. We're working on 4 of the top 6 vaccine facilities right now, several of them to be finished before the end of this calendar year. And that's Jacobs engineers, and they're a variety of engineers. They're chemical engineers, they're civil engineers, architects, because it involves retrofitting facilities and redesigning facilities. So, you think about that as a great opportunity, all the way to things like the London Olympics or sustainable solutions, addressing sea level rise, bushfires, climate change, some of the most important things to especially the younger generation that is much more of a generational leadership than my generation was around that aspect of climate change and clean energy, et cetera. So if you think of almost anything that we all touch and face and need to do, the STEAM process, the education, really provides that opportunity. But the other side of it is these are well-paying jobs. They provide great opportunity to go up a technical ladder or a great opportunity to go up a management leadership ladder and ultimately achieve jobs like myself, chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief legal officer, etc., chief technology officer. There's all kinds of opportunities for women going through a STEAM education process and then ultimately going through that type of career development.
All right, thank you so much for coming here on our 5 quick question series and giving us a little bit of insight and information about what you do. So let's change the narrative.
Let's change the narrative.
Let's change the narrative.